Jeremy Grieves, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much.
And also thanks for hosting. So we're here at your newish premises.
6 months or so, yeah. Six months, yeah.
Just had a tour of the warehouse.
Yeah, got cold in the freezer.
Yeah, which I think we'll show some clips. Done some fish filleting.
We have, yep.
Got the smoker on with some fish in.
Yep.
Got a beer.
Cheers to that.
What could possibly be better? And it's the end of the week.
A little bit of sun could be nice, but hey ho.
Can't ask for everything. So yeah, we're going to be talking about your role at the Fish Society, CEO, and your journey through the business.
Yep.
Because I think that's really interesting. And also the last 12 months, because it's been massively successful.
Yep.
And a really big year for the Fish Society.
A lot of change, yeah, a lot of change.
Which in a world that's changed a lot, I think it's one of the really positive stories of the last 12 months. So it's definitely a positive.
Yeah, definitely.
Small disclaimer as well, in that you're a client of ours and have been for almost a year now.
Yep.
But if anyone's watching like this, is not a case study or a forced testimonial.
No.
No one's holding you at gunpoint to say positive things.
No, exactly.
But it's a genuine chat about the business.
Exactly, and just good to have you guys here. And well, it's funny because we've been working together for nearly a year, and we've looked at each other through a screen, and now you're here having a barbecue, walking around the new warehouse.
Yeah.
Because I think the first time we spoke, we were in the old warehouse, and there was cardboard stacked up to the ceiling behind me. So my background was just cardboard boxes. So yeah, it's quite
it's a bit more impressive now.
Change of scenery now.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And you're just literally around the corner from us as well. So it's bizarre that we haven't actually had a chance to meet yet.
Yeah, a little bit weird really, but
here we are.
Hey.
Briefly, like, what's the history of the Fish Society? What's the story behind the business?
Sure. So the Fish Society was set up in 1992, so it's been around for a long time. And Alistair Blair set it up, and he wanted to sell the best fish through the post at that time to people around the UK. So started by putting ads in BBC Good Food and similar things to that. And then as the internet came along, I think our first website was launched in 2000.
Wow.
After Alistair, who was a journalist at the time, took a trip to two guys who were in a room which later became lastminute.com.
Really?
And he got the idea that I should be doing this online, not just in the magazines. But what are we? I mean, we sell a huge range of fish from all around the world. We aim to get the best of whatever it is, bring it here, package it up and sell it to customers around the UK. And it's all e-commerce. We don't have a shop or a restaurant or anything like that. And we don't sell to restaurants either.
Yep, amazing. And so you moved in here last autumn.
Yep.
Did you expect, obviously, throughout lockdown and COVID and everything else, a lot of e-commerce businesses saw the market pick up, and it was quite a good year for some businesses, including yourselves. Like, were you expecting, obviously that no one could have planned for that, but
no, sure.
Were you planning growth at that point? Were you planning to move into new premises, or was it all accelerated, or like?
Yeah, no, for sure. So if I was pushed, I would have to say it probably pushed the business 4 or 5 years ahead of where it was gonna be. And don't get me wrong, before COVID, we were growing probably between 50 to 75% year on year, given whatever month it was. But COVID was like pouring petrol on a fire, really, and really helped that move along. Awesome. So and when it came around, I remember it was that early point in March last year, and we were like, oh no, this is going to be very bad for us because everyone was retracting. But then pretty quickly we realised the biggest issue was just keeping things in stock, keeping people safe in the building, and just keep going and do what you can to keep pushing forward. So we sort of put on a night shift and got containers in from wherever they were and just kept going, really. Amazing.
And your position in the business, so you joined the business 5 years ago. What was your first role here, and how was that progression from your first role up to CEO?
CEO, yes, very grand title. So First, like you say, joined the business 5 years ago, and I guess for context, I was working at marketing job at a financial investment company. It was all right, but wasn't really me. And I saw a job ad pop up for a trainee manager at a fish business. Always quite into fish. I was originally from New Zealand, like fishing a lot and all that. Anyway, going from a very glossy finance job, I sort of thought, well, let's go and sell some fish on the internet. Sounds quite interesting. So, explored it and ultimately got into it. And I suppose in the early days, I was trainee manager, shadowing the founder, Alistair Blair, and really I was spending a lot of time working each of the functions of the business. Sourcing, buying all the fish, packaging the fish, customer service. What are the customers like? What don't they like? Understanding the finances of the business and things like that. But really, also, I was the guy who was going to bring marketing to the Fish Society back in 2016. So anyway, we got all through that, and pretty quickly we realised that the Fish Society needed a new website. We were on a custom-built platform that was launched in 2006. So by 2016, you go to all these glossy e-commerce shows, and you want to try this plugin or that plugin or whatever, and then they come back and they see what you're working with, and it became apparent we needed to do something different. So I think it was a bit of a turning point in the business, really. We launched a new site in early 2018, where we put it up on Shopware, which was a German e-commerce platform. Funnily enough, we were actually the first retailer in the UK to launch on Shopware. They're still not that well known. Have you heard of them?
I've heard of them.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's the work that we've done together and kind of heard of them from other sites, but they're definitely not. They're not as well known as like your Shopify's and your other platforms.
Yeah. No, I guess it.
What was your choice? What went into that choice? Because that's a bit of a, you've got Shopify, WooCommerce, Magento. There's a lot of obvious choices. Why Shopware?
Well, funnily enough, we actually signed a contract to do a Magento 2 site and paid the money, and we were going down that road. And then as we started scoping it out, the developers said, hey, why don't we have a look at this Shopware platform? And we were pretty green at the time, and not that it was the wrong decision, I think it was, but we, okay, that sounds good, let's give that a go. So, we were sort of being advised by people who we thought knew a thing or two about it. And, hey, I think it has worked out, but being the first is not always the best, launching on a German platform. I mean, we were translating German things that were missed and all that, but it was fun, and we got a lot of support to do it. So that was good.
Awesome.
So then I suppose after that, we built the platform. We had done a range of things that were really working for us, and then COVID came along, and a lot of the traffic and search volume came through, and we'd sort of got the platform to, run faster, and that's sort of what we did.
Almost good timing.
Yeah.
In a way, in a weird way.
I mean, you feel
obviously
a bit
it's not good, but
cringy saying that, but I mean, it did work out like that.
Yeah. And it sounds like your introduction to the business was an amazing education, like shadowing the founder and learning about the finances, the stock, the merchandising, the product, the e-commerce.
Definitely.
Everything.
And I mean, it was very hands-on. I mean, at the time we were, I think it was six or seven permanent employees.
Yeah.
And actually, my first day when I joined, we were running a little contract for a pharmaceutical company in another unit, and we went down to check out how that was all going. And lo and behold, the pipes on the walls had all blocked and all of this. And I said, should we get a plumber in? And then Alistair goes, no, let's pull it off and sort it out ourselves. So there on my first day, I was mopping up shellfish guts and things all over the floor, having left a finance job, thinking, this is a bit different. But I think, all in all, it was good, and it kind of, we're quite an entrepreneurial, hands-on company, and we sort of took that forward, really.
Amazing.
Yeah, so a good foundation for everything to come. And as I was saying to you earlier, now about 70% of the people in the building haven't been here longer than a year.
That's amazing.
a lot of what I find myself doing at the moment is, bringing in new people who are really good, and just trying to get them up to speed on what we do. And so a lot of my time is making other people succeed in their jobs at the moment, and just really helping them and working through with them.
And how was the structure changed? Because I guess when you're CEO and you've got eyes on everything, and there's so many different plates to spin. There's the product development, buying, the actual just functionality of e-commerce, digital marketing, growth, the whole shebang, finances, the lot. Yeah. Like, how have you, as the business has grown so much, how have you structured the business to make sure those key functions are looked after? Like, what does it look like?
Sure, yeah. So, well, one of the big restructures that we had when we moved here operationally anyway was we hired or promoted 5 operational supervisors who run different teams.
Okay.
So we got, wet fish production, dispatch, we got prepared products running that, we got frozen product storage. So we built an operational structure with sort of key players there. And in the more sort of back-end office side of things, we've got a marketing manager, stock manager, and we sort of elevated them. And how do I interact with it and keep all plates spinning? Well, it's a lot of conversations, I think. We have to catch up on a regular basis, and I have to keep helping them through and on to the next step with what's going on, basically.
Awesome. I think your guy might need to. Do you need to get to the Barbie?
Tim, it's like I can see him there. Tim,
with all those different functions in the business, like what's the day to day? Is there an average day to day? Yeah, what?
Well, okay, we'll be a little cliche and say there's no average day to day, but well, I mean, the start is fish starts early. Fish gets landed through the night, and they start grading up 2 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m. in the morning, 4 a.m. in the morning. People get to the market, so really things have started to happen by that point. And in some respects, it depends who you're talking to, but my phone is typically fair game to ring from 5 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Less so now as I move slightly out of the buying role, but particularly as we're getting everything set up. And then getting into work, generally sort of 7:30 here, and as I was saying to you earlier, we've got all our operational supervisors making the thing happen, and make sure everything's working there, because they start at 4 o'clock in the morning, so they've already done half a day by the time I mosey on in. So make sure that's all going good. And typically as well, as I was saying, lots of conversations. I talk to people as they're pushing different initiatives ahead, and get involved with what they're doing, whether, for example, at the moment it is working out our new branded products that we're going to sell, fish pies, fish cakes, stocks, sauces, all that type of thing, and working out what's next, or leading, working with a couple of colleagues on sustainable packaging. We still use polystyrene boxes, and we've just found a solution to change that, and working on initiatives like that. Also, some fun things. I think yesterday I ran a seminar, if you like, for all the operational staff, where we went through the full product catalogue of all the fish we sell, all the photos, and we had a big discussion. There's 20 people in the room saying, "That's good, Billy cut that one, don't blame me, that's fine," and all of that. But I mean, it gets everyone involved, and trying to create a bit of a culture here, and get everyone working toward the same aim, which is sell the best fish, keep customers happy, all that type of stuff.
And I guess that's even more important given the amount of, or like the percentage of the team that have only been here for a relatively short period of time, and that team growth. Yeah, definitely.
As I said, the majority of people have been here under a year. They've come back from skilled backgrounds, but what we do, selling fish on the internet, is pretty niche. So there's still a lot of learning to be done, and we're still learning about what a company culture is, and we are trying to set and uphold a good standard, and keep everyone together, and what the next step is, basically.
Fantastic. And so what I'm really interested in asking as well is that a lot of people we talked on the podcast about digital marketing are practitioners, so they'll work agency side or they'll be in a paid social or PPC role in-house.
Sure.
From your perspective, like, what's your take on digital marketing? How does it fit into your day-to-day? What does it look like through your lens?
Of course.
Comparison.
Well, I suppose for me as well, I've got a big soft spot for it because, 5 years ago when I started, I was the one setting a lot of these things up. So from a digital marketing perspective, it's a bit of a strange experience now where, we've got someone working on affiliates and, social and, running these things. And I'm sort of taking a little bit of a back step and trying to offer what I can, but I must admit they're all doing it better than I ever did. But I think looking at it broadly and trying not to put too many eggs in one basket is something that I try and do. One of the things that we got a little stung from some years ago was after the re-platform in 2018 where we moved over, we had too many eggs in the organic search, SEO, and we lost it and we really felt it. So I think from my side of things, it's getting all the right people who are really good at it, better than I am, full steam ahead and spreading our eggs, because things change. You guys talk about iOS 14 or, smart shopping on PPC, you don't want to be, from my side of things, too deep into one, because if something changes, you've got to feel like you can absorb that change. And that's why you need a good spread across the board.
Yeah, so diversification from your point of view is massively
I think
important.
so, yeah. I think diversification is good. And I think I'd be nervous to try something a bit out there if it was 50% of where our traffic or revenue came from.
Definitely. I think so many e-commerce businesses, or online businesses in general, rely so much on one channel, like organic, or too much on PPC, or too much on paid social, and you have to be spread. Yeah. You have to be spread, I think. That's getting really smoky.
I know.
It smells so good. Oh, look at that.
I think it's working all right.
Look at that.
113 degrees.
My goodness.
Yeah, no, definitely spread it. And, I guess the way I think about it as well is we run a website and we sell through that website. So really the starting point for me is conversion rate. What's the site converting at? And particularly because we've been on quite a journey over the last 3 years where we used to have an average site conversion rate of 1.4, which is very low, obviously. And now, we're tapping into 3. And so it's something that we really care about. And then going after that, I feel that's where you start to split things off. But unless your conversion rate is golden, everything else kind of doesn't make sense to spend the money. You got to get it right first and then go through that.
What sort of things have you been working on from a conversion rate perspective? Because there's so many different elements to that.
Sure.
Obviously you've got to get the right traffic, you've got to have a good product, and I mean, we just opened the lid and it's a good product. But what do you think are the big things that have taken it from where it was to where it is now? Yeah,
sure. Speed was a big one. Slow site, bad site, and we were slow. Thin content was really bad, and I mean particularly for us, like fish is not that accessible to a lot of people who just know cod and tuna, and we sell 200 types of fish. So how are you going to sell them something if you don't talk about it? So we offered a lot of extra content. Go to our site, we do a Fishopedia, we're about to launch a really cool recipe section, we're going to do a load of videos. I think giving a lot of people information to demystify fish was quite useful. And then making the process easier. Now you always obviously hear people say less clicks, all that, and I think it's right. And we used to overcomplicate the way in which we thought we needed to sell fish. And we've got to categorize it by this, that, and the other. And when you take a step back, well, not really. Do they want a small pack, a medium pack, or a large pack? Okay, pick and move on. Whereas we used to get a bit too into the detail, I think.
Well, I definitely think it works, because I remember when we were first starting to onboard you as a client, I just ended up buying fish. And I'm not just saying that, but it just, I don't know, the look and feel of the site and the ease of that customer, I don't know, there's something there that...
And We have never stopped developing it since we put the site up, you know, and
Yeah.
the pipeline of work has never stopped. So always incremental improvements and changes, and yeah, I think just making it easier and better for the customer
Yep,
is
that
the
makes
main
sense.
thing.
What are your big focuses moving forwards in terms of, you know, either the website or digital marketing? You know, we had a look at your film studio in the making.
Yeah.
Like, you talked a bit about content. Like, what are the plans for the future of the digital marketing side?
Digital marketing side. Yes, I think our big plans for this year are, well, I guess there's another way to start it. Right now, what changed recently is I used to be able to count on one hand the number of competitors that they were doing what we did.
Right.
Post-COVID, I think I stopped counting at 20, 30, I don't know.
Wow. And they all shot up over that time?
They all shot up over that time.
Wow.
And I mean, how hard is it to put up a basic Shopify site or a Wix site with e-commerce extensions? It's not. And they did. And you know, that has knock-on effects. So what we need to do and what we want to do as the Fish site is differentiate ourselves, offer something different. So we're really going to put a lot of time and effort into our content, storytelling, and education around the fish. You know, 2021, for many reasons, has been a very topical year for talking about fish, where it's from documentaries on Netflix, you know, Brexit, you know, all of these things. And I think we need to get behind what that pack of cod is and where it comes from and just how you're going to do it. And we really want to have a better platform to talk about it. So content will be coming, the best recipe section you've ever seen will be coming, and we'll be doing it all from our film studio, which is being built right now.
Yeah, and it looks, I mean, it looks like it's going to be amazing.
Yeah,
It
should be very good. Very good.
So I guess to wrap up, like, what advice would you give someone who's starting out on their career in e-commerce, or you know, having kind of come into the business, seen it grow, seen so many iterations, and ending up as CEO? I guess the cliche question is, what would you have told yourself 5 years ago when you started here?
What would I have told myself? Don't get too caught up on things when they go wrong. I mean, again, that's a pretty straightforward answer, but I had to get through a lot of failures for the certain things to stick, and you know, you need to keep churning it out and keep going. Feel free to look at what other people are doing. Not every idea has to be entirely original. Like, you know, there's a lot of smart people probably trying to do what you're doing. You know, look outside of. Don't get too caught out in the detail, I would say too. Yeah. And have fun with it.
Awesome.
I think you've got to love what you're selling, and that will help.
Excellent. Well, I will definitely cheers to that.
Yep.
And by the looks of things, we've got some fish to eat.
I think we do. Bit of kingfish on the barbecue, yeah.
So thank you so much.
Cheers, John.
Obviously, anyone watching this, go to the Fish Society, buy some fish. I'm not just saying it, but it is really, really good.
Thank you very much.
Buy some fish and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers. All right, cheers, John. Thanks, everyone. Bye.